In the previous movies, I demonstrated some of my favorite behaviors in the animation category, as well as the navigation category. I covered behaviors in the automatic animation subcategory, as well as the interactive animation subcategory. This is probably the most useful ones right here. I also demonstrated several behaviors in the navigation category, but there are other categories that I think you'll find some very useful behaviors, namely here in the controls category right here. One of my favorites in this category, and one of my favorites overall, is the jump to marker button. Let me demonstrate that one by dragging that behavior to my main menu button. Here I get a dialog that asks me on mouse up, which marker do you want me to jump to? And notice that it gives me a list of all the markers currently in my score. I recommend that you use markers to set up your navigation in Director. And with this behavior, notice that I can very quickly jump to any of my markers that I have available. Not only can I pick my marker, but I can choose my jump mode. I can go to or play and return. Play that, or go to that marker and play, and then return when I have a return behavior. Let's go ahead and just do the go to and jump to photo 4. Rewind and now demonstrate that. Notice that I jump right to photo 4 there in my score. So this is a real invaluable behavior for setting up a navigation if you do use these markers, which is a good way to go. Another very useful behavior here is the multi-state button. Let's try that one on the web button there. Notice that this one gives you quite a number of parameters divided into off state, on state, and command sent. This will allow you to create very smart buttons that will remember if they've been pressed or not, which is a very nice interface component to remind your visitors, hey, have I already pressed this button? If the button has not been pressed, you're going to see these off-state graphics. Standard member is this one. The rollover member will be the cast member you specify here. When you press down on that button the first time, you'll get this cast member. After the button has already been pressed, it's going to go to this on-state standard menu, so that'll remind your visitor that they have indeed pressed that button. After they roll over the button that's already been pressed, they'll get this cast member. And when they press down on the button the second time, they'll get this cast member. So notice you have 6 different images that you can use for that button to really give a lot of information back to your user on the current status of that button. That's a real favorite of mine. It's a very interactive, smart button. It would take quite a bit of programming skill to set this up if you were to script it from scratch. Another behavior category where you'll find some useful behaviors here is in the internet category. Notice you have some forms here for setting up forms, for posting, drop-down list, posting fields, form post hidden field, as well as form post submit button. Also have a streaming category. Here you have quite a number of behaviors for working with streaming media. Here's one where you'll loop in that frame until a streaming member is available. So let's say that you're streaming a video file. Director will loop in this particular frame where you've applied this behavior until that video file is available for streaming. Here's loop until media in marker is available, so you can specify a specific marker that will contain a streaming media file, and Director will loop in that frame until that particular media file is ready for streaming. Another very useful behavior here is progress bar for streaming movies. So this will set up a progress bar that will indicate to your visitors how much longer they have to wait before they can start viewing that streaming media. So there you have a brief survey of some of my favorite behaviors, but there are quite a number of additional behaviors that you'll want to experiment with, including a bunch of behaviors here in the text category as well as the paint box category, including some really nice, cool behaviors here. Erase all button, a tool selector for creating a paintbrush, an eraser, an undo paint button. This will allow you to set up a very easy and quick little paint program in Director. Let me now move on to the next and final movie in this section and give you some additional tips for working with behaviors in Director 11.